16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to Bidenomics.
From high atop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where the men wear trousers, the women wear dresses, and the sheep wear chastity belts. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to the Blast Radius. I am your intrepid correspondent and resident Tim Pool cosplayer, and here is your Decline of Western Civilization news roundup for the second week of January 2024. Dateline Martha's Vineyard, Monday, 8 January. Former First Lady Michelle Obama did a bit of free-form ruminating this week when she appeared on something called the On Purpose podcast with someone called Jay Shetty. And I bet that guy had a difficult time in high school. Mr. Shetty asked Mrs. Obama to name some of the things that keep her awake at night ahead of this November's election. And what you're about to hear is such an impenetrable wall of word salad gobbledygook that, one, you won't believe it wasn't Kamala Harris who said it, and two, it may cause you to ask yourself, wait, this is the person the Democrats want to swoop in and be the intellectual savior of their party? Quote, because our leaders matter, said Mrs. Obama. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit, it affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted. The fact that people think that government, does it really even do anything? And I'm like, oh my God, does government do everything for us? And we cannot take that democracy for granted. And sometimes I worry that we do. Those are the things that keep me up. End quote. You know, you could almost do that as slam poetry, and you should all count yourselves lucky I didn't think of that sooner. Dateline Washington, Tuesday, 9 January. Ray Epps, the obvious Fed guy who spent the eve of January 6th running all over the Capitol, acting like obvious Fed and being duly shouted down as an obvious Fed by the people he was exhorting to infiltrate the Capitol building the following day. And also, coincidentally, the only January 6th participant who has received exclusively sympathetic and glowing coverage from the baying fake news media mob that wants to see every other J6er hung from a fucking gibbet, was sentenced this week on a single misdemeanor charge of disturbing the peace. His punishment? No jail time, 2 years probation, and 100 hours community service. But wait, I hear you say, didn't a lot of J6ers who did a lot less than this guy get sentenced to years and years in prison? Why, yes. Yes, they did. So the moral of this story is, Being an obvious Fed, well, it's a bit like having an American Express card. Membership has its privileges. Dateline New York City, Wednesday, 10 January. Parents and students at James Madison High School in Brooklyn were informed this week that the school would be closed to staff and students and remote learning instituted until further notice so that Mayor Eric Adams can confiscate their school campus and turn it into a domicile for 2,000 of Joe Biden's illegal aliens. So to recap, for those fans keeping score at home, you pay federal taxes for a secure border. You pay local property taxes for the construction and maintenance of your local public schools. You pay state taxes for the instruction your kids receive at the school. And what do you get in return for being the law-abiding taxpayer? Well, jack shit, that's what you get, except Joe Biden's bony old middle finger right up in your face. That's what you get. But hey, keep voting for the Democrats in continuing overwhelming margins. I'm sure everything will work out great. Dateline Atlanta, Thursday, 11 January. And while we are on the subject of everybody's favorite president and semi-animated cadaver, CNN released a poll this week in which 51% of respondents said there is no chance they will vote to re-elect the president. The Biden campaign quickly issued a statement saying, quote, "These poll results are obviously highly misleading as only voters who are currently alive were polled. We have no doubt when we get to the election in November that the World War I vets and the Civil War vets and the Spanish-American War vets and Joe Biden's own brothers in arms, the War of 1812 vets, will all turn out in the same historic numbers that they did in 2020, when deceased American voters made history by electing one of their very own number to the presidency for the first time ever." End quote. Dateline Atlanta. God, 2 Dateline Atlantas in a row. How about that? Friday, 12 January. Former President Trump's Georgia criminal case was dealt a potentially fatal blow this week, as it was revealed that Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis gave the lead prosecutor spot in the Trump case to some personal injury lawyer named Nathan Wade, whom she also happens to be sleeping with. And then this dude immediately starts billing the DA's office for 24 hours of expenses every single day. And if that wasn't enough shockingly brazen professional misconduct for you, the two of them proceeded to take multiple romantic vacations together on the taxpayer's dime. And what a shocking series of developments this is. After we got to know the giggly Wiccan grand jury forewoman last year, we knew this case was totally on the up and up and not at all a ridiculously shambolic clown show of corruption and incompetence. And that's your Decline of Western Civilization news roundup for this, the second week of January. And with that, we send it over to my illustrious co-host, your friend and mine, the one and only, Mr. Caucasian Sasquatch.
Tactical nuke incoming!
You know, it really pisses me off every single morning when I wake up and I'm trying to get to my freaking coffee pot and I ain't got enough coffee and I ain't got enough creamer and I'm almost out of milk and everything's starting to piss me off. And then I turn on the freaking TV and the first thing I hear is our democracy. America was never a democracy, not once, not ever in the history of America. It was a republic if you could keep it. What is up, my brother from another mother? We're in the wrong spots yet again. Let's put it right. All right.
We are, one might say, a confederation of democratic states.
Right?
With you are correct that we exercise absolutely no democracy at the national level. Absolutely ever. There's no such thing as a national referendum in this country. And that's why we're not a democracy.
At all.
The states are democracies. But it's different, and people should know the distinction and get it right.
Mm-hmm. And I just find that it's a very strange stick to try to beat the populace with when it doesn't apply to the circumstance at hand. They would love for you to think it's a democracy because that would let them get away with everything they want by having the very minimal majority of vote. And
it makes it all that much easier for them to use our democracy as a fun euphemism for all the things I happen to like.
Right? Yeah, all those things, you know. But anyway, how are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? How are you doing? You snowed in up there, bud?
It's getting pretty bad out here. I think it was 58, 59 degrees today. It's why I'm wearing my winter uniform. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, well, it got all the way down to like 65 down here. It's a downright cold front, let me tell you. So, actually, I was planning on getting drunk riding dirt roads the other day. I was looking for applications on the permanent Uber driver, and finally got somebody to agree to drive me around while I sat in the back seat with my dog and got drunk. Woke up the next morning and it was raining. I'm not going to say it was biblical, but I did call around to see if I could find some animals 2x2, bro.
I feel like you just sang me an old Conway Twitty song I never heard before.
You're ruining it, dude.
Sorry.
You're not supposed to make me laugh. I'm supposed to make you laugh. That's the way this show works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a plan. We got this idea. See, we had this thought. I had a thought, and I'm going to impose it upon our host. So, I allowed
away, my friend.
Poison. You may choose your mind worm. So, one of the most just hated shows in this country, and I don't even know how it gets airtime, but it is an absolute hoot. And I sometimes listen to clips from The View just to hear what kind of stupidity is spewed out of that quarter recently, right? I kind of feel like it's something of a public service because this permits me to filter at least the heaviest doses of brainworms from what I'm presenting to you.
And I just briefly, sorry to interrupt you, but I would like to put the question to the viewers and the people in the comments if they actually know a real honest to God person who watches The View and takes it seriously.
Yeah, seriously, who watches The View for political and news oriented reasons. I don't mean the people who sit around smoking dabs and giggling through Cheerios at 7 a.m. Those guys,
which is easy to do, and I think the majority of the audience is that the people who just want to see what goddamn stupid horse shit they're going to spin up today,
right? So I found a channel. I'm going to share the link in both chats as the dominant entity. The hominid with the mostest, the dominant hominid,
the hominid with the bominid,
the dominant hominid. We gotta stop. All right, so this is the profane primate who might have me beat out for the dominant hominid. I'm not sure. Thank you, my love. You want change? I want you give it to Rachel. She's the one that needs it.
Hi, wife Squatch. You're the real hero here.
Actually, that was my Arabian daughter. But anyway,
pardon me then.
Right. She calls you people. She calls me you people, which is hilarious in public. But I'm not permitted to say anything like that back. So we have the profane primate over here, and he has collected together, and I don't know what kind of hatred this man has specifically for Miss McCain over here, but he has a 6-part series on Miss McCain. Every other member of The View only gets like 20 minutes in his wheelhouse, but Miss McCain has almost an hour of content that he's clipped. I don't know whether that says anything good or bad.
And there's one very certain role and slot that they have on The View where it's a woman who has to be able to call herself a Republican with a straight face and just parrot 90% of the leftist talking points and occasionally push back just in some little tiny teensy weensy very polite way, and that's what they call equal time, I guess.
I've never seen any level of pushback that was actually pitched, from the beginning of the show. Every bit of push.
Meghan McCain used to push back a little bit occasionally, even though she's still a buffoon nearly all of the time. But I think the slot that she was in is the slot that what's her name, Alyssa something or other is. Yeah,
I remember there was a person there, but I don't remember who it was. And dear God, man, stop that! You're giving a PTSD. Jesus. Anyway, so we're going to go over some of Whoopi Goldberg's greatest takes, and I'm going to do this in little bitty bits because for 2 reasons. One, The View is notorious for like straight up takedowns off of virtually anything you show, and I'm sorry. But these are things that need to be remembered. They were said, damn it. So we're going at Whoopi Goldberg this time. Next week, we're going to do a few minutes from what was the one you wanted to do that I said sounded more reasonable than anyone else I've heard. And I've
You can pick anybody from that show, and I can rip them apart on command. It doesn't really make much difference to me.
And we're off to see the wizard. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. So we're gonna roll out some Whoopi.
Not that my opinion matters.
I screwed the pooch.
But let's talk about 2020 because you do talk about 2020 in your book.
The show?
No, 2020. He talks about 2020.
Hunter Biden first because
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife.
Yeah,
Because Joe Biden's wife, because she, you know, he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
she's a doctor and
PhD.
yeah, I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Maybe
I thought she was
yeah,
a
I think
PhD.
she's a teacher, but you know, might be good for Betsy.
Wait, any of that one, dude, or are we just gonna let that fly by like the turn?
Dr. Jill for Surgeon General might be my favorite Whoopi clip of all time because she is such a wonderful doctor.
Okay, so you just bought yourself a Dr. Jill Biden clip for the intro at some point. That's gonna happen. It's gonna be her saying that. It's going in the clip. It's going there. What's up, Chairman? Good to see you. Carrie, welcome in. We got Janica, KK Bootsy. We got Queen Bird.
As ever.
Think that covers it. There might be somebody that snuck in, but if so, you need to speak up because YouTube ain't covering it.
And the audience, I'm sure, doesn't need us to tell them that the reason Jill Biden went and got her fake doctorate was because she didn't like being called Mrs. Joe Biden.
Right, I'd read that somewhere, and I don't even remember where I read it at all. It just popped up one day on some part of my feed, and I was like, anybody can donate and get a doctorate nowadays. Academia is no longer academic.
And so now, being who I am, I make an assiduous point of always referring to her as Mrs. Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, what can you do, man?
Even though she's such a wonderful doctor, and who am I to argue with Whoopi?
Right. Oh, but listen to how this plays out. This is kind of funny too, because home chick over here. Oh, just watch.
I have been polled. I've been
You
polled
have?
by both parties, which always
At
makes
your
me
house?
laugh. Yeah, because I also have a landline. I feel like when people say, you know, they took a poll, I've been alive a long time. My phone has never rung.
Yeah.
No one has ever polled me. And it really has.
Okay.
I have a question. How many dreadlock wigs does Whoopi Goldberg have in her closet?
At least one more, sir.
To do with what we need to probably stop calling Broadway. Maybe we can stop calling it the Great White Way and replace it with the Great Bright Way.
Has anyone ever heard Broadway referred to as the Great White Way? This is the first I've ever heard of it. I mean, I know I'm just a old redneck hick down here in the country and everything.
And do you want to know the origin of that?
Of the White Way or the Broadway?
Yeah, the Great White Way. It's because Broadway was one of the first streets in New York that had huge numbers of electrical lights, and it was actually bright when you walked down it at night, and it was so bright and people were so unaccustomed to seeing this much artificial light in the evening that they called it the Great White Way.
Right. But she has to find some racist angle on this.
Well, there has to be a racist angle because it's fucking Whoopi Goldberg.
I mean, one of the richest women on earth. But I'm oppressing her.
And you know what? You one more thing. In back in the 19-teens, when that name first originated, there was not one single goddamn Black American who was offended by it.
Right? Yeah, right.
And that will allow
What
everyone
made it
to.
white? I'm sorry, I'm
don't
not
know,
following that
but
either.
it's-
I don't know
but-
what that means. Is that what Broadway is called?
It's I don't. That's what Broadway has been called, the Great White Way, and I suspect
didn't
it
know
comes
that.
because of the bulbs. Yeah, because of the.
She even actually
She
knows
gets it
why,
almost right.
but she still wants to make it something it's not. It's well,
Yeah, but she wants to instinctively associate the word white with racism.
look at this woman's face.
She's the type of person where that's the only prism they're capable of viewing the world is
She is so
idiocy
offended.
like that.
Look at this woman. And Joy is so happy that she's offended. I suspect some shenanigans backstage. All right, Chairman. Good to see you, bud. Appreciate you stopping by.
If I'm being honest, I'm surprised they haven't changed the name of the White House yet.
What are they going to paint it pink? I hope they paint it pink. Come on. We could have a Barbie White House. It'd be fucking awesome.
I might actually vote for that.
Then you wouldn't have to worry about any of those conservatives going in there.
We can call it the president's Barbie dream house.
1995 at the nearest Walmart.
Well, you know who.
And his suggestion.
Go ahead.
Sorry, but you know who first? Which president started calling it the White House? Right on the letterhead.
That was Truman.
Theodore motherfucking Roosevelt.
Oh yeah, you go. That was my second guess, but I didn't get that far. You called it.
Just why don't we stop calling it the Great White Way and call it the Great Bright Way? I thought it was really wonderful and a good shift and a good change.
I like that.
Don't
There we go.
understand the whole thing. I mean, I'm an only child, right? So I don't understand
No.
this whole thing. Yes, as
Right.
a joke. I'm like so hyped about. I wrote a novel, and it's my debut novel. It's called Summer on the Bluffs. It's going to be released on June 16th, 2020 by HarperCollins. And this is what it's about. So every summer, Esperanza Perry Soto, she's an Afro-Latina lawyer.
No kidding.
She escapes.
Where'd you get that idea?
She escapes from New York City every summer for the beaches in Oak Bluffs on Martha's Vineyard, where she shares a beautiful seaside home with her two god sisters, Billy and Olivia. Now, the home is owned by their godmother, Amma. She's the first Black woman to have a seat on the New York Stock Exchange. But this summer's On the Bluff is different.
But no one cares. We're just waiting for Whoopi to make it, right? You see that? I'm not going to put it up on screen, but I see it too. I'm going to let it.
Different because Amma has to give the house, but to only one of her goddaughters. Each of the women want the house desperately. Each is grappling
gonna do
with
the
a
whole book?
secret. Each is grappling with a secret.
Don't give the whole book
And then
away.
they-
Yeah,
they
don't tell the whole
fear
book. Look,
that they
when is it
fear.
available?
Wait a second. That they fear
Oh my
will
God.
make them lose
Oh
the
God!
house.
We have 1 minute 33 seconds.
And you can.
Is this chapter 1 or 10?
This is just about to go. And literally,
Why is this the whole segment?
everyone, it's available for pre-order right now.
Okay, good.
Just being mean
So
for meanness
happy
sake.
Hispanic Heritage Month to everybody.
All right.
First of all, Whoopi's blonde dreadlocks give me nightmares, and she also she looks exactly like Queen Ramonda of Wakanda in the last god awful shitty Black Panther movie.
Dude, stop
And
it.
she probably thinks Wakanda is real.
I guarantee you she's planning a trip there next year.
And if I could give a quick shout out to myself, I'm on the cover of USA Today's Hispanic Living. And it's the first time I've been on the cover of a Latino. Is there a photo?
Is there a picture?
There is a picture, but I didn't tell anybody. So
Oh.
we can show it another day.
I saw it over the weekend. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I can verify.
You done?
Congratulations.
All right.
You done?
Because you know she's Hispanic, right?
Most people don't.
She's like the drunk, angry aunt at the Christmas dinner table.
Can I go slightly off topic for a brief rant?
Hold on, let me do it properly.
Okay then. But just this whole thing about women who have some vague speck of Latin American heritage, pretending like they are members of the Latino community. And I'm thinking specifically of our good friend Rachel Zegler, star of the Snow White remake that got pushed back an entire year because she was so god awful and toxic. But I saw some ridiculous interview where she was talking about how this is so important to my Latina community, and it means so much to my people. A chick who was born in New Jersey named Zegler with parents named Greg and Gina, who just happens to have a grandma who moved up from Colombia back in the early 60s, but she runs around like a member of the Latino community now, and it's so important to my people that I'm playing this role, and it's so fantastic for them. I'm done.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's Captain Curmudgeon and his opinion. We'll bring you another one next week, I suppose. That's how you roll with it. All right. I know it's brainworms. But listen. You're not having to sit through the entire view to hear these horrible takes. There's plenty of them. You can go out and find your own. I went and found
my
these.
God, I don't know how I didn't know about the Sunny Hostin novel about the 3 strong, powerful Afro-Latina women who share a house on Martha's Vineyard. I can't read. I'm going to Amazon that bitch right now while we're sitting here.
Okay, you do that. Hell, I might even do a reading with you. Why not?
Didn't know that because I'm Afro-Latina, and it's the first time that an Afro-Latina has sort of been
Ding bell.
celebrated like that.
Ding the bell.
So I appreciate it.
But Megan, well, I won't tell the other Afro-Latinas.
Yeah.
I won't tell the other ones.
You guys
Yes.
gave her a job on the show, which I think is airing this weekend.
Yes, this weekend is your
acting
episode.
role.
She said,
Sunny is a thespian.
Thank you.
You said it's exhausting, though. You said filming was so much longer and
Oh
and harder
my
than you
gosh,
expected.
I didn't understand it. Here you come in, you talk, you go home.
no.
It was like this scene and that scene and over
Wait,
again and over again.
Wait. Did I just hear Kurt complain about a work day?
Work days are really intolerable.
Actually accomplishing a goal that you set out instead of just sitting around and cackling like a bunch of hens. I'll be surprised if Jake will rock.
Getting up in the morning and getting yourself dressed and going to a place and doing some work. It's so patriarchal and white supremacist.
Oh my Lord, woman. I just
Hours.
Oh, and say it this way and say it this way. I was thinking about Whoopi. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
there it is.
I could have.
Terrifying.
I could have helped you with all of that.
I did ask you,
You
Whoopi.
did, no, you
a
did
little
not.
bit.
No, you did not.
It's like a perfect synthesis of Queen Ramonda and the Predator.
I just so like right before the Waffle House closed up here, I was up there at the Waffle House sitting around drinking a cup of coffee, trying to get my head right to do a show, and hitting on a bunch of waitresses as you would, and there's this chick who comes in. She's got a to-go order, and she stands there for a solid 15 minutes. And every time she tries to look one way or the other, she's got these big dreads. She has to fling her dreads almost all the way to the ceiling off both shoulders. No matter which way she looks or how she goes about it, she's over there slapping folks behind her in line with these things. They're flopping all over the freaking counter and shit. And I'm like, I'm a courteous type of individual. I try not to get my hair in people's food. I try not to fling my hair around. I have a lot of it. I just started twitching a little bit. Like the entire Kuwait staff completely evacuated the area, which made her have to sit there longer. And they left
because they're being attacked by Medusa.
They didn't want to get hit by Dookie Locks, man. I'm done. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, no. You got me all wrong. I respect Lorraine. It's just that I make a better governor.
Okay. I'll see you out there.
Yeah, this is her little role. That one bit. She had a schedule.
Seamless. That's it's definitely
Oh,
going to be
dude.
a great.
I forgot about the Emmys. Did you hear about the Emmys?
Mm-mm.
ESPN has had every single Emmy given to them in the past freaking 8 to 13 years stripped. because they cheated.
Oh, I think I saw a headline about that. But
They
fill me
straight
in because I didn't read the article.
Dude, listen, this all right. So there were those of us back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, or no, well, 8 or 9 years ago, that were like, wait, there's something weird going on with ESPN. All of a sudden, all of their hosts were suddenly Emmy Award winning hosts, and everyone they picked up just was magically yet again another Emmy Award winning thing. And yet, if you went and looked at the register for the people who had won Emmys, none of them were there. They're not on the list, haven't been for 13 freaking years. These people had been submitting writers and whatnot in place of the host to get the Emmy statue, and then erasing the last names and changing it to the host name and handing them an Emmy. And here's the best part, in my opinion. I don't think any of the hosts had any clue. I think it was all orchestrated by ESPN staff, possibly only a couple of them, because you can't keep that secret if more than 3 people know it.
You know what's counterintuitive to me is it seems like the most sensible way to go about winning Emmys would be to make the best televised content.
Oh, screw that shit.
It seems like a much bigger expenditure of effort to do an entire underhanded criminal scheme in order to fake some Emmy wins instead of just earning some Emmy wins. But then I know very little about the industry, so maybe I'm talking out my ass.
I didn't know a whole lot about Emmys, but I did know that typically they're given, and like there's lists and you can go check on them and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're generally like public, and there's a newspaper article about it when you get one, and it's kind of a special thing. And then suddenly a few years ago, you never heard about anybody actually getting an Emmy. You hear about people who have gotten Emmys and they work for ESPN. Everybody else
who is even eligible for the Emmys anymore? Because
supposedly
aren't a lot of shows not actually being broadcast on television anymore, and they're just streaming shows? Because I know streaming shows win Emmys.
I don't think an actual television show has won an Emmy in a few years, bro. Because
yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering, because it seems like each time I see a show promoted and described as an Emmy winner, it's a streaming show and not a broadcast show.
And also, well, there are streamer Emmys. I mean, that's kind of a recent thing, past few years. But that's
you've got your daytime Emmys too, because you used to have your regular primetime Emmys and your daytime Emmys.
Right. Well, that's where everything goes off the rails. ESPN basically started printing up their own Emmys, just handing them out for anybody who was going to be on a news desk, so that they could say they have the largest Emmy award winning anchors in news, I guess.
Just like Joe Biden prints up his own money.
Hey, a money printer go.
So I'm happy to have you be a part of it.
Thank you.
Yes, for sure.
Well
It's hard.
It is not easy. It's not easy. That's why everybody can't do it.
No.
I keep saying. I didn't have. I mean, the first time I lost my virginity.
I don't
was
want
my
to know.
No.
Did she just say the first time I lost my virginity?
Yeah, I was totally fixing to bust up on that one, because that one caught my
Wait,
attention.
I think we need to talk about that.
We can, but I know you're a very young man, Mr. Curmudgeon, and I'm aware that maybe people haven't talked to you about the birds and the bees, but there's more than one virginity one can lose. Who knows?
Duly noted.
All right. We'll talk later. We'll settle all those little creepy guilties you've got.
So when you get right down to it, that's a pretty kinky thing she just said.
Like the birds and the bees.
I'm actually curious about my husband. So many times, one of the girls he's told me about lives in our neighborhood. Yeah, I think when you're running against President Trump, facts matter, and you need to be
accurate, 100% accurate. You see this, right? Facts matter.
I'm still trying to get over the jacket that Meghan McCain was wearing. I've never seen a heavy-set woman try so hard to make herself look heavier. Look at that.
Eventually, they're going to let him linebacker.
That is the absolute last young woman in the world who needs to be wearing big fucking linebacker shoulder pads.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to assume that she has a talented crew and they've done the best they can for her.
Yeah, they get like the best freaking fashion houses in New York to put outfits on these idiots.
What's up, AJot? At some point in time, we're
Hey,
going to try
AJot's
to.
here. Hey, AJot.
That's my plan. If I can put a woman in this seat, you'd triple your viewership. I guarantee it. What's up? We got the divine sorcerer in. Maybe he can put the hex on these bitches. I don't know, man. They're starting to rot my brain out. All right. All right. So she thinks facts, accurate truth, is funny in relation to Donald Trump. Due process is right out the window with this woman.
Oh, it's Trump. He doesn't get due process. He's too evil. We have to throw him in jail to save democracy. Trump must go to prison or democracy dies. That's the way this exercise works.
My wife was distracting me with great, lovely jubblies. I apologize. Just so everybody understands why I was distracted. All right, bud. Check it out.
Why you needed to go AWOL for 15 seconds?
Oh my God, it's so much more.
He's tied to Joe Biden while Joe Biden was working in the White House. He has ties to Brennan, who's been leading the cabal on Trump.
You are making money from the hotel based on
We're in the hotel business.
All right,
Like we're giving back.
They have a duty obligation to honor the
Unlike Hunter Biden, we didn't become international businessmen magically when we got in office.
Listen,
All right,
don't
that's
do
something
that.
no one talks about.
Don't do that.
There is absolutely no circumstance under which I would agree to do an interview with 6 female interviewers.
All right. So I do my best work under pressure, and I'm not going to guarantee that anything I say will be able to be broadcast on TV. So when they apply the pressure and Sasquatch starts Sasquatching, it's going to be a confusion. Like, I'm going to throw my talent out the window, bro. I'm spraying it all over that stage. They are going to be, I'm going to answer every single question just as honestly I can, as in the direct wrong direction every time.
Well, but there's the problem. You get halfway into one cogent sentence, and you've got one of those half dozen clucking hens interrupting you, cutting you off, and then one of the other ones starts clucking, and then a couple more, and by the time you know it, there goes your 3 minutes.
Accurate. What's up, Tales Told in the Dark? One of these days, I'm going to do a knockoff version of your show, and I'm going to call it Sasquatch Tales. It's going to be great. I'm going to credit you with having written it, even though you haven't even heard of it until just now. So everybody can blame you for the horrendous thing that I do. I'm sorry. I'm going off the rails. You got to rein me in, bro. I'm like a race car, and I'm revving in the red, bro.
You can't rein in the Sasquatch. You can only hope to contain him.
I'm glad I'm sober. Why is this muted? What has happened? Oh, I bet YouTube muted it on him. What the fuck?
Does that mean we need to switch to a different thing to make fun of?
No. What it is he uploaded a clip and it got claimed by somebody in such a way that when he went back and redid it, he just took the audio out of that section. You have that option if you play a song or something like that.
Right.
They'll give you the option to just strip the audio or replace it with a different song. In this case, he just stripped that bit because it was claimed by some particular something or other. Oh God, make it stop.
I love YouTube terms of service.
Yeah, no, Norm Macdonald is an absolute god as far as I'm concerned. He's one of my heroes of all the comedians, and I have infinite respect. Jim Carrey, the genie, what was his name? Robin Williams. These people helped form me, but and I hate that the format that I use on YouTube does not allow me to exploit this, but my favorite comedian was Chevy Chase. I have the ability to walk into a room and cause millions of dollars worth of damage, and it looked totally like an accident. I have practiced this shit all my life.
I'm not generally speaking a fan of stand-up comedy, but if there was any ever two stand-up comedians I would be proud to say I emulated, it would be Norm Macdonald and Dennis Miller.
Oh, Dennis Miller, dude. Yes. His old late night shows were some of my most favorite viewing, because even though he was a really weird sort of dude, I could kind of see where he was coming from. The rest of those people were from freaking Mars or some shit. I couldn't get it.
And I will be the first to admit, I sometimes have him in the back of my mind when I'm writing the news roundup.
There you go. That's what you should do. Channel your inner Dennis Miller. There was a YouTuber a while back named Soph. She was about a 12-year-old girl who did political commentary, and she did the absolute best Dennis Miller monologue reference, like the vague reference thing. She did it completely out of hand. There was some argument about whether her parents were writing her script or whatever, but I never really saw the point in that argument. Whether you're writing your own script or we sit down together and work it out, or I straight up write you a piece, does it matter? Are you not entertained?
All the time I have to rein myself in from making my references too vague. It's a constant battle.
Okay, so I'll give you a little tip. I don't know how many Dennis Miller interviews you've seen, but there was one from the mid 90s that he did when he was all hopped up on coke. It wasn't long after anyway, they asked him, they were like, do you ever have the issue of references being too vague? And he's like, well, anytime I think a reference is going to be too vague for the audience to get, they laugh anyway because they don't want to feel stupid. Bro, go deep, go hard, balls deep.
Right, and also, as another facet of that, the people who do get the joke, even if there's only a few of them, they're gonna laugh their fucking tits off.
Those are the ones that will share. The one guy in 25 that picks up on that vague reference to a Native American baseball player from 1927, who you know what I'm saying, like
Louis Sockalexis,
right? Might be 7 people on earth that get the reference, but those 7 people will share it with one another.
No, I guess 1927 would be too late for Louis Sockalexis. Give me Chief Bender.
Okay, I got you. One day I want to do The Last War Chief with you. We're going to cover. Have you been over Joe Crow?
The
Last War Chief. All right, so we'll cover it later. But in a nutshell, he was the last Indian chief who committed all of the necessary atrocities to become a war chief in the field of war. But there were a few others after that who failed only because they didn't steal horses, because there were no horses to steal in Vietnam. The man did steal a guar. He stole several yaks. He stole a handful of freaking mules. He stole an elephant and a jeep. And none of that.
You know what makes me happy? I am glad we had this aside with this lovely picture of this blonde, dreadlocked, blue glasses wearing Whoopi Goldberg on our screen.
That's terrifying. Let's go past it.
As the front-running candidate, but he just left himself wide open for doubling down on his praise for Cuban leader Fidel Castro. Take a look.
You know what? I think teaching people to read and write is a good thing. I have been extremely consistent and critical of all authoritarian regimes all over the world. The truth is...
And I am gesturing with my hands, and I want
to do a Margaritaville about Bidenomics. Can you please help me? Wasted away again in Bidenomic land. I don't know. We got to work on it, but I think there's something there, dude.
You better stop, or that's going to start writing itself in my head.
Snorting on my son's last hit of coke.
You know, I could probably nail that voice pretty good.
Oh, dude, I will do my way straight to the freaking. Oh, yeah. Let's do it twice. Do 3 takes. That'd be great. John B's got a point. I don't know. I might need to get Bernie out from up there, too.
Years of the Castro regime.
So, what is he
God,
saying?
he's back.
To develop Florida a swing state for that Latino contingent. I mean, they are
Latino. It means more if you say Latino and not just Latino. You have to say Latino.
I'm so upset about this. It just occurred to me. We got an old black lady up there that's fussing at everybody, and an old white lady up there fussing at everybody. And then we got a fat white lady up there fussing at everybody. And then this relatively spicy Latina chick who's just sitting over here having her little say. She doesn't seem to give a damn what anybody else says. She has an opinion. She kind of rolls with it until the commercial break.
Well, and you know what the other thing is that folks should consider when watching clips of this show is that take the stupefying inanity of the things these women normally say, and consider that they have an entire staff of very highly compensated writers who come up with this shit for them to read off of a prompter.
Yeah, no, and not only can they not do that, anytime they go off script, they go way left field off script. It's like if they don't know what to say, they just repeat the last thing they heard on CNN.
Yeah, and then Whoopi gets a 2-week suspension usually.
Dictatorship.
Yeah.
There is nothing groovy about a dictatorship.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just nothing good.
Unless you're the dictator.
But that's for journalists, for anybody. I mean, wherever it is in the world, we bitched at people for getting next to people who were saying, "Oh, you know, it's not so bad. It is bad."
American voters don't understand nuance. They hear communism.
No, there's no way around that. This is as bad as you know who's saying there were good people on both sides.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Lord Voldemort has spoken. You know who. Bro. You know, I didn't really believe Trump derangement.
Oh God, it's that same
thing until I encountered it in person.
Well, I actually invented an affliction that's a step beyond Trump derangement syndrome, Trump psychosis complex. Because I think TDS doesn't sum it up well enough for some of the more acute cases.
Okay, I'll buy that, because this dude that I'm talking about specifically definitely had Trump psychosis. Because listen, I haven't seen this guy in 2 years. He shows up in my living room. He's an elderly gentleman, nice as you could possibly imagine, ex-fire chief, you know, a real do-gooder type guy. I really like the dude. But we didn't have a conversation. He just sat in his chair right there and spewed vitriol about Trump for 2 hours straight.
Wow.
And I never mentioned the man. We didn't talk about him. We didn't turn on the news. None of that happened. All that happened was he asked me what I knew about Trump and never stuck around for the answer. He just started spewing CNN talking points.
And you know what I've found has been kind of a fascinating exercise when I encounter people like that. I kind of tried to innocently, non-threateningly, non-confrontationally ask, so which of Trump's policies did you disagree with? And they're never able to name a specific one. They just go on and on about his personality, and he did this, and he grabs women by the pussy, and how can you support a man like that? And he's so terrible, but they can't name a policy they disagreed with, which makes it terribly difficult to take them seriously.
Yeah, and they don't seem to believe that not being able to actually speak on policy actually hamstrings them in any way. They firmly believe that their opinion is more important than the facts of the situation.
Because they have allowed their heads to be pumped full of the idea that this man is the avatar and the personification of everything that is evil in the universe, and it causes them to make utter fools of themselves.
They've been biting their own farts again, haven't they?
Yes, they sure have.
All right, poo gas. I don't like poo gas. I'm not a fan of poo gas. I'm not gonna lie. All right, it's this bitch again.
Same thing. There's no way to get.
I don't agree.
Oh, I do. Once you start saying, well, you know, Hitler wasn't so bad because
But he didn't say that.
But no, he didn't say that. But to a Cuban person,
Yeah.
it's just as bad.
I agree.
It's
Cuban
just as
refugees
bad.
came to
Cuban
this country
refugees
seeking
who
freedom.
lost everything.
So we're going to have a conversation about a situation that never took place, not even in your own head. You just came up with it just now. But we're going to hang this on this man's. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez.
Is this the same segment where she goes on to say that? Well, I'm sorry, where she goes on to imply or intimate that the Nazis weren't racist because the Jews are just other white people?
I think so. And ladies
Oh,
and
man.
gentlemen, you do most absurd. I think this is it. If it's not here, I think it might be later in the video.
In Cuba, because of Castro, yeah, it's as bad.
A vote against Donald Trump is not necessarily a vote for Joe Biden. And I think he has to give some people something to latch onto. And I don't know that the biggest appeal he can make is going to be his vice presidential pick. And I don't know that people have that same excitement. And so he has to consider someone who can run with him, obviously. He'll make history as the oldest
She's
person
about as
entering the
cute
White
as a
House
button,
at
ain't
78.
she?
So this is going to have to be a younger person. We have to be honest. He's likely a one-term president.
I want to clear something up because I'm sure you don't want people to think you're an ageist when you talk about how old folks are.
Is there something in Whoopi's contract that says she only has to wear glasses in the colors of the New York Mets?
Oh wow, I have not noticed that shit. You are far too observant.
They're always either orange or blue, is all I'm saying.
Probably is. But hey, at least this chick's on screen. She's not absolutely deplorable. Whereas
No,
Kamala,
I could look at her and feel like I could potentially get an erection again one day. Whoopi, not so much.
I'm just curious. Has anybody ever seen Kamala Harris and Whoopi Goldberg in the same room? Just saying.
And I'm pretty sure that you want the best person to come in and try to get a hold of COVID and everything else that we're facing. Because I, for one, I'm tired of 5-year-olds or folks that don't know what they're doing, who are just figuring it out, being in charge of everything. So I want some adults in there. I want some folks who.
So she's calling you a child and a moron in the same breath.
Does she have any children?
Dear God. But
I honestly don't know. It just occurred to me that so much of the child rearing advice one gets now is from barren, old, childless spinster women.
Right? It's dude, and we had this week. Was it Chuck Schumer, Schaefer? Which one was it? Anyway, one of those guys went on national TV and was talking about the dropping birth rate of Americans and the rising in immigration being a justified means of replacement, literal replacement theory. They are saying it out loud. This is exactly what the plan is. They're going to tell your children that there's too much carbon and try to take on the third world as a straight up nanny state.
You mean it's not an insidious right-wing conspiracy theory anymore?
Mexico just calls out, all right, Mexico, I think this happened today, actually. Mexico requests that we offer amnesty to the millions of immigrants that are currently in the U.S. and in exchange for that, they will close the border.
To answer my own question, Whoopi Goldberg has one daughter born the month before I was born.
I wonder if she's Republican.
Wow, she is so old. She has a kid the same age as me.
Yes, Ted Danzig did marry Whoopi. That
Sorry, Mom
happened.
and Dad. I didn't mean that as an insult.
Well, it's okay, dude. Your mom called me and said she wished she had me. I'm so sorry. That's a bad joke. I probably shouldn't have went that far. Oh, Lord. Yeah, we're going to listen to some more of this tripe, but we're going to back up a hair so we can not back up. We're going to move forward a hair to this bit. Oh, not that bit, this bit. Oh, God. Damn. Oh.
Stories that he's been telling on the campaign trail. Take a look.
This guy climbed down a ravine, carried this guy up on his back under fire, and the general wanted me to pin the silver star on him. I got up there and stand and said, God's truth, my word is abiding. He stood at attention.
Hold up, ladies and gentlemen, we have a red flag.
That's what that's God. Oh, dude, this is my favorite. This might be my favorite Biden story because this is like it's like the goal. It's my God. It's the apex of the pyramid of Biden bullshit because there's literally not one single thing he says in this story is true, and he even tries to seal it with "Swear to God, my word is a Biden."
So,
but here's the great thing. He actually did go to Afghanistan and give some decoration to some guy. It wasn't a silver star. It didn't have anything to do with rappelling down a fucking cliffside with your wounded buddy on your back. It was just some guy who did something. He wove that into the story because he saw the movie Hacksaw Ridge and he thought it was cool. And so he weaved that into his story because that's the kind of politician Joe Biden is.
Yeah, no, when you hear the story, it's obviously Hacksaw Ridge. I mean, come on, bro. And that is one hell of a movie. If you have not seen that film, by all means, as soon as this show is over, immediately go check that out because they did an excellent job. It might not be actually accurate depiction, but it is a hell of a story. And very well.
And an astounding performance by Andrew Garfield right after he got thrown out of the Spider-Man gig. And good on him.
And he come back batting for the fences, bro. Like he swung.
Yep. That's exactly what he did. You're goddamn right.
It is. I very rarely go out this far for any movie at all. Hacksaw Ridge. I turned it on thinking that I was going to put it on and like wash some dishes or something. And I sat right there the whole 2 hours and watched that man suffer.
Yep.
Oh, damn near on bated breath. Was just like, wow. But go back and check out the actual accounts of that taking place. And
also, of all people, Vince Vaughn is great in that picture. Vince Vaughn, who's not even supposed to be that great of an actor, is brilliant in that picture.
Yeah, no, there's no one in that film that does a bad job.
Nope.
I've watched it twice. I watched it once, and then I did the dishes and did a show and did some other stuff and thought on it. And then I went back and watched it again with the intent of actually paying attention. It is an excellent film. I can say that out loud with pride. That film,
and it's a story that absolutely warrants the treatment of a big budget motion picture. Because how many conscientious objectors do we have who won the fucking Medal of Honor?
That man wouldn't carry a gun.
Yep.
In a war zone because God would see him through. And that last assault 15 minutes late and nobody's moved a muscle, that 2,000 men standing around on one knee. Guy shows up, what the hell am I doing at the bottom of this? He hadn't finished praying yet.
Yeah.
Well, y'all gotta get up there and get that ridge.
Nope, we don't go till Desmond finishes praying, sir.
This man says we go because God is with him. It might not be with me.
Which was a reasonable conclusion at that stage because all the evidence they had witnessed said this guy was fucking immortal.
Science. Oh yeah, that's jungle love. I'm sorry.
I went to pin him. I said, sir, I don't want the damn thing. Do not pin it on me, sir. Please, sir. Do not do that. He died. He died.
So Biden actually mixed together 3 different events with veterans into one story, which he defended in an interview with NPR. Take a look.
But the details are irrelevant in terms of decision making.
Is he right in terms of?
And I give you Bidenomics, people. This is
you know what I want. You know what I want to. I'm going to tell you right now. The thing I want to see before Joe leaves office. I want to see the Hacksaw Ridge story woven in with the story of his 2004 kitchen fire.
I might be able to make that happen, Captain. Oh, right. That's actually
Almost lost my cat and my Corvette and my wife.
I have another clip, another tidbit that I got that I think I was supposed to play before all this.
Well, fancy that.
Are we familiar with memeology? How many in chat are familiar with memeology? I'm sure you've seen him, right?
Raising hand.
Okay, yeah, no, I picked up on him at around 900 subscribers, and I was like, "How is this dude not bigger?" He hit 1 million like a week later or something. Like he'd swing it hard, bro. But check
We
this.
should all be
one.
so lucky.
Right? Oh my God. Homie's just not caring about any of it. I have no idea where this guy is from, where he's at, none of that. But I absolutely love some of his takes. They are amazing. Go check him out.
And you guys have certainly demonstrated success on it when you won back the House and when President Biden won in 2020. I think the question, though, you raise a lot of things that I think drive some of the frustration. If you look at the legislative record that you were detailing that the president had in the first 2 years, and the way that on individual basis, every single piece that you laid out there pulls quite well. You lay out what the former president has said he wants to do in terms of repealing Obamacare, in terms of being proud of Roe versus Wade being struck down, in terms of more tax cuts along the lines of what you saw in 2017. That also polls much better for Democrats than it would for him. And yet, this is a neck and neck race, and no one feels very comfortable on the Democratic side of things that Donald Trump isn't going to be the next president.
Well, I don't think that nobody feels. I think many of us know that it is impossible for him to be the president again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's a pretty bold and cryptic thing to say. Especially from a woman who is just a backbench congressman now with no leadership role.
Right. Wrong button. I got to do the right one. How do I do that one? This one. We have some memes over here. I got a buddy of mine who does YouTube. His name is Acorn Stash. California approves toilet to tap scheme to pump treated sewage back into people's homes. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Are we approving or disapproving?
They tried to do that in San Diego about 20 years ago, and they had to cancel it due to public outrage.
Right. We're not ready for that yet, I don't think. I don't think so at all.
Well, I think if you asked the public what their appetite was, whether it be toilet to tap or desalination plants, since we have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of miles of coastline, and we know how to build the plants, but the California Coastal Commission keeps not allowing them to be built because we might inconvenience some fucking sea slug. So that's where we are.
Well, you know, those sea slugs, they're integral. Maybe we should get some immigrants on it. I'm sure they could dream up a solution. AI objects. Judges will be able to use ChatGPT in legal rulings in England and Wales, despite
I read that
being prone to making up bogus cases.
So the author of Harmony Unleashed is going to be deciding the fate of English criminal defendants. Isn't that comforting?
That seems accurate. Yeah. I'm terrified, and just completely.
And so you're gonna have a guy in a room sitting at a bench with a fucking powdered wig on his head like it's 1617, and he's gonna be reading a legal opinion from a robot. That's
right.
Where we are now.
Exactly. Regardless of what the judge actually thinks in his own head, he will type in guilty by reason of, and give it a couple of prompts, and it'll just whip out some sort of legalese that sounds functional. But
it's interesting the areas of tradition that we choose to prioritize.
ChatGPT is notorious for just making random shit up. If it can't find a detail or data online, it just makes that crap up for you. You remember when we tried to do next week's news?
Yeah.
That was far too easy, was it not?
Far too easy.
Boy called police to say there was a gunman in school just so he can go home early. This is the world we live in, folks. That happened. Vegan who drinks his own union daily swears it is the secret to eternal youth. Disavow. I only drink women's urine.
I don't know what to say about that one, frankly.
Damn, I was hoping you'd have a smart ass remark for it. Oh well, moving on.
But that guy is supposed to be the picture of eternal youth because he looks like middle-aged Charles Manson.
So care of 770 KTTH, the conservative talk radio, rants. Seattle student failed quiz for saying men cannot get pregnant.
Jason Rants is a good one. I like that dude.
Right? Yeah. So it's a little disturbing, the kind of things that are happening in academia nowadays. I mean, does a degree really mean anything nowadays?
No, I just did an entire video about how little it does mean.
I mean, I would rather have someone with experience in the field over a degree any day of the week.
Well, I usually endeavor to avoid on the Sunday show repeating things I've said in the last week's videos, but as I put it in the last video, we need to get our heads around the fact that in terms of broad public perception, the college degree is no longer something that signifies an achievement to be earned. It has become a consumer product to be purchased.
Exactly. No amount of education takes place. It is re-education. It's to turn all of these people into absolutely dependent little voters on their little dependent collectivist groups. And these are the people who are not reproducing that they're trying to replace. It's hilarious to me that you're going to say that we have to replace population because population growth is falling off, while turning around and saying that we have to reduce population and inviting in immigrants. I don't get it, dude.
Has there ever been a point in human history before now where childless people have been in so many positions of power? Not just positions of power, but positions of such power as to be able to influence social engineering trends across the entire globe.
Yeah, and applied to someone who's not even human.
Yeah.
And we're just going to let this happen, folks. This is happening. It's happening in every. I mean, look at the recent firings that's taken place across Disney, Pixar, Google, Apple, Alphabet, you name it. They're canning folks left, right, and center. You know why? They don't need those people anymore. They have AI to tell them that they're racist now. You're fired.
Right. And how many of the people being replaced weren't doing any damn work anyway because they've been remote working for the last 3 or 4 years.
Right? All of these people are like ticks on the freaking system. And when they leave Google, they will be able to leave Google and go to any tech anywhere and say they have 8 years experience at Google.
Everybody has seen those videos of back from before the days when Elon Musk bought the company. When the Twitter employee, walks you through her fun little workday, where I go into the company yoga studio in the morning, and then I go to the coffee bar and make my latte, and then I go relax in the quiet room for a couple hours, and then all of a sudden it's time to go home, and the viewer finds oneself asking, when did you do any work?
No, it's colleges. It's just college graduate. College graduates don't actually do work. They just tell you that you're racist. That's their job. That's their only function in life that I've been able to determine.
Because that is what they have had drilled and inculcated and propagandized into their precious little brains since their first day of government financed pre-kindergarten.
So I got to ask you this question. Woman who threw burrito bowl at Chipotle worker is sentenced to work at a fast food restaurant. Is that legal or legitimate?
I don't know about legal, but legitimate as a moral question, yes, I like the punishment very much.
Okay, so this occurred. The judge ruled she was guilty of like the disorderly and stuff, and there was going to be some like a year in jail or something. But if you're working at this fast food or a fast food restaurant, I think it was 3 months, 90 days, then all charges get dropped and it basically becomes a diverted sentence. Right.
Generally speaking, I'm a big fan of criminal penalties that are uniquely commensurate to the offense, because I think those are the cases where rehabilitation probably happens. I think this chick, if you made her go work at a fast food place for a couple of days, she probably would never behave that way ever again as long as she lives.
Bro, I'd never ever give fast food workers a hard time. I worked at Wendy's during one of the worst periods of Wendy's history. At my local Wendy's, we had on this one weekend, this wasn't the only time this type of crap happened. On one weekend, I'd been hired for about a week when my grill manager was arrested for like a month. Like he didn't get out of jail for a minute. I was the grill manager when he got out. He had just trained me and went to jail. The first line cook had a child who was born with cancer, and so he was stuck in the hospital with him. The second line cook was in a car accident and was in the same hospital that the other guy was in. And leaving me and another dude who got hired right after me being the only grillman in that place. And so we just sat down one afternoon, smoked a big fat hooter, and decided, look, it's going to take at least a week or two to be able to get somebody in here. That's just how long it's going to take to process it. So we're fixing to have to Iron Man this entire fucking process. So we took turns coming in at 4 in the freaking morning and closing, just working all day. I was 15, I think.
And y'all did what you had to do to keep the place running.
Yeah, basically what we did was we abbreviated every other shift in there and added 2, like from the till workers and from the sandwich makers. We pulled from them and trained them to kind of halfway run a grill so that only one grillman was necessary to operate it. That way we were able to split time. And towards the end of the week, we ended up like he would come in on half a day and I would come in for the second half. But it still came up to the same thing because I would close one night and open the next morning. So there would always be this period of lack of sleep that just happened. Luckily, it happened towards the end of summer, and we were able to like get all that cleared up before we went back to school.
Sentences like that, that are uniquely commensurate with the offense committed. They kind of remind me of the sort of lawmaking that judges sometimes had to do during the frontier and territory days, where sometimes they had a case in front of them that there was no legal precedent, that they weren't sure what to do with it. Communications weren't such that they could go appeal to a higher authority to ask what they should do, so they just had to come up with a solution on the spot. And often it would be something like that. One might call it biblical justice, something close to an eye for an eye. You abuse a fast food worker, you have to go be a fast food worker.
I'm just going to let that hang out over there. Continue. I saw it.
We have here. Oh dear, that's almost as bad as the whippy with the blonde dreadlocks.
It's a little disturbing. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is we have here. The white mystery. I think I might have missed that one my first time through.
Well, and isn't that the question we have to grapple with for the whole question of reparations? Not that it's a serious question, but a lot of people want it to be a serious question. But if you're going to actually administer something like that, you have to come up with some kind of a one drop only standard to determine eligibility.
Dude,
what does Derek Jeter do? Write a check to himself?
I don't. fuck, I don't, dude, it baffles me. It baffles me. Anytime you try to bring up race in a conversation and have anything remotely associated with like a logical discussion, you have to come down to family lines, family names, that type of stuff, because that's the defining factor in who does what, where, when.
Because
I
the
don't-
family is the defining unit of any society.
Exactly. It's not a racism issue, it's family lines. Now, that does happen to kind of coincide with one another, but it's not like a great lasting feud of the ages that's been taking place. America, to my knowledge, is the first and only place that ever took the bull by the horns on this one and said, bring them all. We can handle everything. The issue is we can't do it unmitigated. There has to be a level of time between the absorption of the populace and their assimilation in order to maintain the American ideals. Because if you bring enough immigrants in, they will bring exactly the habits that they have in their home country, which quite often involves machetes and, you know, stuff like that.
Right. Which is why one of the conditions of gaining U.S. citizenship is having sufficient English proficiency to pass the citizenship test.
Right. Which ain't exactly an easy thing. I would challenge about half of Americans to pass that test. People who were born and raised here. I mean,
I think I saw a study about that recently, and it was something like over 70% of citizens would fail the citizenship test, and that doesn't surprise me in the slightest, frankly.
I'm from south of Atlanta in Georgia, and I'm here to tell you that half these people here don't speak English fluently enough to pass the damn test. Y'all is not a word.
And yet they find their way onto the voter rolls somehow. And I always wonder that when I get my voter materials in the mail each year during the election, and on the back of the big yellow envelope, it says, well, you can get your ballot in this language or this language or this language. And it's 12 or 13 or 14 languages. And I think, wait, in order to become an eligible voter, don't you have to be fucking English proficient enough to fill out your goddamn ballot? So what the hell's going on here exactly?
You only have to be able to identify the difference between a D and an R. That's all they care about. If you can hit the D every time, you're in.
And that is the mic drop moment of this episode right there, because you just summed it right the fuck up.
I'll give you one of those.
Tactical nuke incoming!
You know,
that was his tactical nuke, ladies and gentlemen, not mine.
You're welcome. Which brings up a question. Why is it that Detroit doesn't drop a microphone instead of like whatever the hell they do? Don't they do a big ass gold record or some shit? Shouldn't it be a microphone?
There's a lot of things about Detroit I don't understand.
Bro, we're getting your humor chops up, dude. You're going to be a comedian before the end of the fucking month. Watch this shit. Right? I'm going to screw. Wait.
Florida man takes death for 20 years. That's a real achievement in this day and age, to be faking your own death. It takes a hell of a lot more work than it used to.
Oh, well, no, he did it 20 years ago. It just worked that long. But if I remember,
even still, the fucking internet existed 20 years ago. It's still a hell of a thing to pull off.
Sure. But if I remember right, the way he ended up being discovered was he tried to he tried to register for a vote or something. He tried to register in his hometown, what he calls his hometown now. If I remember right,
he got a little too complacent and got his ass busted.
Exactly. Now, if you showed somebody from the 14th century a modern cell phone, they would be more interested in it as a light source than anything else. However, if you showed them a spice rack from your average grocery counter, spices from all over the world, the rarest things they've never heard of, things that people murder for, are just laying over here.
So things you would have had to transport by camel across the entire Silk Road to get from the Orient to Western Europe.
Exactly. Amazing. But this is a very accurate one. I just don't think they would grasp what a cell phone could actually do, even after explaining it. Could carbon passports that limit how much we travel be in our future? It's almost like they know what's coming.
Did you see that survey out of France not long ago? I think it was last fall, where it's something like 3/4 of the millennial population said they would be happy to be banned for life from taking more than 4 airplane trips.
I don't believe that.
That's the shit we're getting into now. I would only have believed it if it was from France.
All right. I want to smoke with that guy. Roxanne Green just burned down Wyoming's first abortion clinic just weeks before it was due to open. Her eyes say, "Do what you must. I have already won." Accurate. Why does she have octagonal? Oh my God. Okay. Rule number 1 when dealing with women with Sasquatch: never trust a woman that has octagonal glasses. Actually, don't trust anyone wearing octagonal glasses. We're going to go with that, because if they're wearing octagonal glasses, there's one of 2 things going on here. Either
turn those glasses orange. I bet Whoopi would wear them.
You hear that tipping? My sound just went to hell in a basket.
It just came back. It's fine. It's fine now. It was dodgy for a minute, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, I have no idea when it clipped out. It doesn't tell me. I couldn't tell until I heard you. Wonder how bad that was. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That chick is that tall?
Yep. Okay.
69 inches. That's 5'10", right?
I guess so. More of a 5'9".
5'9". Yeah, maybe she's not that tall.
Oh, but no, just look at that woman. Do not trust this. This is one of those that will have you locked up for graping her when she's never actually met you in person, and then show up to key your car so that she can claim to her girlfriends that y'all were dating once. And then she'll go home to her room full of cats and roommates who are all collectivist shills of various description, drink her box of wine, and get slowly licked upon by her cats.
It is the face of a fully inculcated young woman. That's for damn sure.
Yep. It's worth it. That's what she thinks. It's worth it.
Yep.
Police beg locals.
I burned that building down because it was an evil building, and I'm glad I did.
Police beg locals to refrain from taking pot shots at the Chinese spy balloon. Please tell me this was in Georgia. This day after my birthday, bro.
No, that was Montana.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense too, I guess. Yeah. It never specified what hill you had to be a Billy on. All I have to say about this one is this is America.
Pot shots are what we do in America. We see a weird thing in the sky, we shoot it.
Why not? I mean, why? I had somebody.
Oh God! Oh wait! I'm reminded of that old Jeff Foxworthy bit when Atlanta had just been announced as the host of the Olympics, and he did that bit about how when they release all those doves for the opening ceremonies, there's going to be fellows out in the parking lot just picking them off.
Not only that, but if Ned Beatty can't make it down that river, a Frenchman in a pair of bicycle shorts don't got a chance. I'm going to make you squeal like a pig. You got a real pretty mouth, boy. I'm sorry, folks. I might be having more fun than y'all tonight.
Wait, what? I don't understand this one. What's this one?
Oh, yeah, those janitors, before they refill the toilet paper, they use the 2-ply to make 2 rolls and then put it in the
Oh,
stove.
okay. Okay, I gotcha.
Some of that John Wayne toilet paper. You know what that is, right? Rough, tough, and don't take shit off nobody. Nightmares are just free horror movies that you produce, direct, and star in. Let's see what's this say. Hold on. Go away. Go away. Vegan something. Why is it doing this? It only goes away when I
just hit play, and then we can read. Vegan scientists
Vegan
mix
scientists
27
mix
carcinogenic
27
chemicals in an attempt to make a soybean taste like a hamburger.
accurate.
Pretty accurate. Yep.
Accurate.
When you get right down to it. Next, they're going to try and make crickets taste like hamburgers.
Hey, I mean, like that. They kind of taste like shrimp anyway, bro.
You've eaten bugs.
I've eaten bugs. I mean, what do you think shrimp are, bro?
I guess it's fitting to make that crack during Davos week, isn't it? You eat the bugs. The bugs are very healthy and nutritious for you. You eat the bugs.
Alcoholic dogs. I had an alcoholic dog. Oh my God, this man. It says 1 in 5 Americans has a positive view of Osama bin Laden. Disturbing Daily Mail poll results also reveal 3 in 10 GZers think the views of the 9/11 mastermind were a force for good.
Your public schools at work, ladies and gentlemen.
What in the world is this world? What in that? What? Wills Robinson for Daily Mail. Thank you for your support.
It's almost like when you hire a bunch of school teachers who are purple-haired, lip-ring heaven sex perverts. They fill your kids' heads with a pretty wacky version of the world.
Okay, so Sasquatch Guide to Meeting Women includes the very bright Kool-Aid colored hair being a sign of danger and a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Modifying retarded behavior. John T. Neesworth and Robert M. Smith, both of which have excellent experience in just such a topic.
Curmudgeon's rules to live by, number 183. Jello colored hair is a deal breaker. Doesn't matter what the deal is, it's a deal breaker.
It's a picture of birdshot to the back. Just a reminder to all of the people who feel like stealing someone's stuff, right? You see that spread? I want to be perfectly clear. That spread where he picked up pellets in his butthole and the back of his head is a good 30, 50 yards out, man. That's a little farther than you think it would hit you and do damage. He's lucky he wasn't facing them, because one of those pellets could have gone
I was
inside.
thinking maybe closer in with a sawed-off scattergun.
Well, technically that would be illegal, so we have to assume the individual is a law-abiding citizen.
Fair point.
Right? So I would assume that it's at least a 20-inch with a choke. And so you're talking about a good 45, 50 yards out there. And Danny Staten says it was too high when it came over South Carolina. It was clearly out of his range.
That's why you aim center of mass, boys and girls.
Yeah, y'all swim around here a little while. This vending machine dispenses snacks.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. Diving with sharks. I don't know, man. Seems sketchy to me.
Yeah, it's animal tourism isn't really my thing, but that's one of the things that really escapes me even more than most things do.
I don't know, man. I mean, tourist thingies, they're touristy, right? If you are a tourist in an area and you're doing tourist stuff, that's your own concern. I don't have
Right,
an issue.
I mean, like when we were on the cruise a few months ago, and then the things you have of choice to do in each stop. There's always, you know, scenic, natural terrain things and animal things, and we always pick the scenic terrain because I like terrain things more than animal things. I didn't want to go do the fucking fake dog sledding. That didn't have any appeal for me. I would rather go and walk on the glacier.
Noted. All right, but
I know that lots of people are into the animal shit, and no judgment here. I'm just saying.
About that time, bro.
Oh, how about that? Where does the time go? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks ever so much for spending some little portion of your Sunday evening with us. We sure do appreciate it, and we enjoy it even more than you do. Believe us. We'll see you next Sunday evening, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Same Squatch Mudgeon time, same Squatch Mudgeon channel. Until then, have a very pleasant, very edifying week. We will see you next time. Do not comply. Get off our lawn.
3, 2, 1.
If you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror.
The communists declared that the real differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric.
It's MAGA country.
This is no hoax, ladies and gentlemen. I urge you to run for your lives while you can. We're not making this up just so we can take over the world.
The old dinosaur media isn't dying, it's dead. We are the new media. This is our world now. Lay down and die.
Peace was never an option. So if we don't step up and win this culture war, then who the fuck will?
Let's wake the fuck up!
We're gonna get naked.
No! I'm locked in here with you.
That's it. You're locked in here with me.
It's what you've been waiting for. Be the one we need.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Let me show you.
Global Industrial Complex.
Yep. Uniparty.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
The point is to destroy Western civilization from within using Maoist technique. So therefore you have to vote for me.
I don't know. This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Woke is Marxism, evolved to attack the West.
Stop giving up.
It's only just begun. Now!
Do it! Yes, you can!
I'm gonna do what's called a pro gamer move.
Just do it!
Are people bitching about that?
Some people.
Of course they are. Oh, fucking A. All right, got it. Yeah, too fucking bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Any far left conspiracies, to be honest with you.
Ain't no single entity going to swoop in and save the day. You are going to be continuously let down if you place all of your hope into one individual. Instead, look inside and look around. We're doing this together.
We all are fighting for the same thing, and we all see the same problem, and it's this.
It's time to stop being an NPC, get off your ass, and join the meme war.
Shame! Shame!
No, I don't like you.
Shame!
If we were in the wild, I would attack you.
I'm sick of it, man. I'm fucking sick of it. I will not do it again.
Thank you. I wonder how many people feel exactly the same way.
Be the beating drum at the head of the growing creative cavalry charge. Be vocal and profound in your passion for projects you enjoy.
No more excuses.
I've seen it. I can't even compute all of it. It's so fantastical. You've not seen nothing. You ain't heard nothing. You ain't smelled nothing like this. I don't have words to tell you.
A new world order.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Hey, wait a minute. Now keep in mind, Operation Human Shield will suffer heavy loss.
About it. You control population, you destroy the family,
and then you you sow division. I mean, this is...
You don't need a destination when you're running on an omnidirectional treadmill.
We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2.
Are we ready for a new world order?
You'll never defeat the human spirit. You'll never defeat God. You'll never win.
Pray that he is watching.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you.
That was a